Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to share something I honestly never thought I would experience, and that is a mental health win. Mentally getting a P1. And before I get into it, if you've followed me for a little bit or you've listened to my podcast, you already know that racing for me isn't just about racing. It's tied to so many mental health areas. Racing with ADHD and literally or figuratively seeing a squirrel run across the track. Oops, missed my braking point. So when I go into a race, I am overthinking many different things. Don't mess up somebody's race. Hit your brake mark. Don't take somebody out. Don't bin it. Don't finish last. But last week at Red Bull, with a decent qualifying time, I was able to be confident enough to race on my main account, which I only do if I'm generally in the top 1,000 globally. But the previous races I had done, I was happy just to have the top 5. I think out of 4 to 6 races before this, I think I had 2 P5s, a couple P4s, a P3, a P2. So many of the same racers are in this next race. But I start off early with a penalty. But I'm like, okay, currently in P4, I can keep up as long as I focus and do what I've been coached to do. So often with having Coach Luke provide lap analysis and so many coaching sessions and race analysis, he often finds a way to articulate his point by finding something that is relatable. For me, it's military stuff. And he'll say, maybe you've went through this in the military or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I push forward, I push on, these are the things I do. I mentally focus, I visualize before doing operations. And now I do the same thing in racing. I'm sure people may ask themselves, why do I support Team Jiu-Jitsu so much? Why do I donate the way I do? It's because they've impacted so many things, not only in the game, but also in life. I've been able to be in a mental health space over the last 11 months since I started Gran Turismo that I have not been able to be in for years. And getting back to Coach Luke, he isn't just giving me breaking points and coast more and follow this line, turn in a little bit earlier. Although all those things have been extremely beneficial for me to get faster, he's also taught me how to think, how to be a little bit more patient. And for me, he's been much more than a coach. He's been a mentor and he's been a good friend. We can often talk about so many different things outside of racing. So as I'm racing, often his voice is in my head saying many of the things that he said during coaching sessions. Brake marker, apex, coast, be patient. All these different things run over my mind. And when I'm in the flow state, which I had some moments in this race that I made some mistakes, but for the most part, it was very much in the flow state. And I was able to keep up with A+ guys. The big thing in this race that I knew, once you got past kind of lap 7, the tire temperatures, which got extremely cold, certain sections you needed to either brake a little bit earlier, or going through sector 3, in that you had to maybe brake a little bit more than you would. And that allowed me to stay online and stay focused. And I was very much in my rhythm. So right now we're P3. We're like, okay, the pack is tight, but you know, anything can happen. We'll just keep going. It was a clean race. But I knew I was getting pressured from behind, and I was also trying to keep up to the A+ guys in the front. Often it's at this point in the race where one little mistake can snowball into something so much more, and then I just lose all sense of what I'm doing. I tend to then overthink way too much. Okay, where was I braking again? Well, you know, it's like it's the first lap, and I tend to get out of my mental state that I'm in and just go somewhere else that just normally turns the race very bad. However, this race I was able to maintain my focus. Having raced many more races before this, having all top 5 finishes. I think I maybe had one P7, and that was because I was about to hit someone going into the hairpin, and I decided to bail out at the last minute and ended up going to the back, allowing everyone else that I potentially could have ruined their race, but I was able to get up to P7. So as we move forward, we now get into P2 because some guys have got some penalties. And I'm like, okay, I know Hector in front. I've raced him before. I watch his stream. Great positive energy gentleman on the West Coast in the US. But I also know he has far more experience racing than I do. I think during this race he was A, but I know he has been A+ many times before. So at this point, I just wanted to try to keep up and try not to get a penalty. So I was extremely locked in to focus, hit my marks, and honestly put all the negativity or the fear of failure, the lack of confidence, maybe the insecurity. Often my biggest thing in a race is don't mess up somebody's race. Don't bin it. Don't finish last. Those, again, that, you know, you'll hear me say many of the same things. in my podcast in some of the mental battles that I've faced on the track and off the track. So as we come down to, I would say, over 3/4 of the way in the race, we've got a little bit of a gap behind, and I'm still trying to catch P1, but I also know his qualifying time was a little bit quicker than mine. However, my qualifying time and my race pace normally do not align very well because of my race nerves. I think I push too hard. So these are all things that I've been trying to work on. So here we are, 2 laps to go. I know Johnny Greenwood, he actually, when I was streaming this, he actually popped into the chat after previous race, I think, and had said, "You're fast." And maybe he had heard me say some things about the mental health aspect and whatnot, but he was very encouraging, and it was a pleasure to race with him. So now it's only the 3 of us. We've got some space behind. Not sure how we separated a little bit more from the pack. And often, or I should say, this is very similar to a lot of races that I had done at Red Bull, was the top 5 were generally able to get away. So this moment here, I saw Hector on the inside, and I was like, okay, I need to give him room, but also he had the penalty, and I wanted to try to get by, and I was able to do that. And I'm not sure if he lifted there, but very good racing at that point, and clean and fun. So now we get into the final 2 laps, and I'm looking behind me. I'm thinking, okay, hopefully Johnny Greenwood and Hector, that's behind, hopefully they can keep fighting, and I can at least try to pull away a little bit, because this will help my race nerves. Because often when I'm at the front, this is when I make the most mistakes. I put too much pressure on myself. I kind of forget what I'm doing, and I already think about the final result. Same as when I do qualifying. I could be improving on my time and, mess up the last 2 corners because I'm already thinking about the end result. And that's one thing I'm trying to work on. So as I come down to nearing the end, and I can see that Johnny Greenwood has a penalty, so I'll get a little bit of breathing room here. But I'm also like, okay, hit your brake mark. Don't brake too late. All these things are running through my head. I can see now that I'm getting a little bit more space, and this sector was probably my best. I really nailed that going through there, and it just felt so smooth. And I know over the week, generally the last 2 corners were my weakest, but the previous one to the last corner, I had eventually got better throughout the week, and I became more confident. So for me, that wasn't only a P1 on the track, it was also a P1 in my mind. I was able to battle a lot of crap and walk away proud and happy of what I achieved.